Hi there out in Facebook world and on newearthtelevision.com. This is Jean Adrienne, and this is the Monday, November 4th episode of Power Talk. And I've got an amazing guest tonight. We're going to be talking about an amazing book. So my guest is Rhoda Shapiro. Rhoda's worked for decades as a tantric educator, training women to step into their power through meditation, movement, dance, expression, and yoga. And she has just written and just released a brand new book, Fierce Woman, Wake Up Your Badass Self. And, you know, I got to tell y'all, I love this book. I love it so much that I'm part of a book club that meets every Thursday morning at 8:30. And we've been working our way chapter by chapter through this book and having amazing shifts, all of us. I mean, we usually end up in tears before the end of the hour because we've uncovered so much. So welcome, Rhoda.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to actually meet you and to thank you so much for writing this book.
And I'm so excited that you and your book club are going through it. That makes me so happy.
Well, good. So tell my viewers a little bit about Rhoda and how you came to actually write this book.
So I discovered, I work as a tantric educator, and I teach a lot of meditation, yoga, movement. At first I was just out there teaching everybody, just wanting to spread the work for many years. And then I started just feeling this calling that I just felt so driven to connect with women. I didn't know what it was, but I just felt this voice, heard this voice inside me say, it's time. It's time to really step in your power. And so I started thinking that I wanted to try and do women's circles. This was a few years ago, and take my work and use my work and be able to help women spiritually, mentally and emotionally. Because there's so much work in Tantra. A lot of the practices that I teach are very heart-based. And so I just see so many transformations all the time that happen when working with the heart, when working with those energies. And so, I brought this into my practice, into my work with women, and it just felt so right. And after I started my first circle, I then had this call to do the book. And I wanted to do the book for some time, but I didn't really feel like I had a lot to say. I felt that desire, but just like, what would I write? What experiences would I put in there? And just as I was going through this deep process of working with all of these women who were just showing up and being vulnerable and really inspiring me in the ways that they were, going out there and being courageous, I thought, I can do this. I sat down, and it took me about probably 6 solid months to really sit with this book and let it come through me. And I'm just so excited that it's finally out and finally published.
Yeah, and it's crammed with amazing information. I mean, we in the book club, we take it apart and we do the exercises together. And we've really grown a lot as a circle, as a women's circle, because that's what this book club is, as well as individually. I mean, after the book club ends, I continue working for the rest of the week on what we were doing. I don't read ahead and start working on the next piece. I process for a week, and it generally takes that because your work is that deep.
Oh, thank you so much. And I've heard a lot of people say it's that you can't just speed read through it. Like it's not the kind of thing where you're just like, okay, bam, bam, flipping the pages. You really have to take that time with it.
You do.
To allow things to marinate.
You just won't get anything out of it.
Right. Exactly.
It's all about choice, But yeah, so your book is divided into sections. And so there's a piece that really addresses the mind, the heart, the body, and you go through all of these things with us. to really do a lot of healing. And I got to tell you, I mean, this whole thing about healing women, helping women to heal themselves is so huge right now. I mean, it's really, it's my primary focus as well, to heal all the wounds that we've held in our womb, and in
Yes.
our nether parts that you talk about in the book, and really let go of all of the pain and suffering that we stored there, that our bodies.
Yes. It's so true. I mean, we don't even realize it so much of the time because we're so used to holding on to things. And our bodies are holding on to all of these just fragments and bits and all of these energies that haven't been processed or fully understood or fully embraced. And so we walk around like this every day, a lot of the times, And so I just really felt like, one of the things for me is like creating those spaces for women to feel safe, to feel empowered, to feel secure. And only then can they really heal. And, I thought, with my work, I really wanted to touch as many women as possible. And I said, well, I can't be everywhere. So at least I can put this book out there and hopefully within this book create that space for women and allow them to have that time to really reflect and go deep and heal.
And a lot of this is about self-love of our soul and self-love of our bodies.
Yes.
Where do you think we got so far off track on that?
Oh, man. It's hard because I feel it's not something that's prioritized in our culture. It's not something that we grow up with thinking is important or thinking is of value or really taking the time to think that we are of value. And I just remember when I was in my 20s and I started really going deeper into myself and with meditation and just really connecting to that inner wisdom and that voice that was there and aligning to that, that self-love. I feel like I almost sort of stumbled upon it accidentally. And when that happened, I just, wow. Can you imagine if all of us from a young age were given this knowledge, knew that, that is a possibility and that is a priority, that can be something that we can actually embody and without having to feel like, we're being selfish or, anything like that. Because I think a lot of women struggle with that sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, this is why I really want to spread this work of, it's hard really to do anything else in life unless you first can start within and truly love and accept who you are. Exactly. It's really hard to heal without that.
And, inside this book, this is really an educational tool that is educating women on things that were long lost. I think way back in the day, in ancient times, for example, the red tent, where women would get together once a month and teach each other and help each other during that time. And even before that, I mean, I think back in the day when we were priestesses in the temple and, and we did sacred sex to help the men raise their consciousness. We knew about how to let go of other people's stuff. I mean, that was taught. It was common knowledge that has just been eradicated over the years. For, I don't want to go and blame any particular area, but I think a lot of it has to do with church-based and religious, teachings that thought, well, that's just not, that's not good, so we got to put that away. We can't talk about that. And we lost it. And you're bringing it back.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, and I feel like it's a shame too because we've become so disconnected from our bodies and really from the sacredness of our bodies. And we've been made, I feel like, to feel such guilt and shame for wanting pleasure, for embodying pleasure, for even expressing that, we want pleasure, that we want to feel that way. Yeah. And so I really think it's time to reclaim all that. I really feel like a lot of women are ready. And I really like to say that, I'm not so much teaching these things, because I feel like all of this is within all of us. We all have this inner wisdom, and it's kind of, I wanted the book really to be that, that remembering, like reminding you. I want to remind you how powerful you are, how much potential exists within you, that spark, that sometimes you get little hints of throughout the day, that is really there. And it's waiting for you to, really get in contact with it and align to it.
I think that's why you're telling us that we need to wake up our badass selves.
Yes.
and it's working. I mean, so I can give a personal example from your book of how it helped me. One of the chapters, and this is kind of early on in the book, is talking about self-worth and what happened to our self-worth. And one of the exercises that you gave there was to go back and find a time, when like you weren't chosen for the team, or you were the last one picked, or, whatever, everybody has their own little thing. And so I went into that and I immediately got it. And then I thought, well, that is in middle school. And what happened before that? And I was able to go back to a time in the 6th grade where I was bullied and made to feel unworthy. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay. So in the 6th grade, how old was I? 10, 11, 12, I don't know. And so I thought, I need to go back before that. And I actually took the exercise another level deeper and went straight back into my childhood when nothing I ever did made my dad happy.
Wow.
Put your shoes away. You didn't turn off the tap. You didn't turn off the light. It was always those things. It was never,
right.
Thank you for doing this, or you did great. So it actually started when I was really quite young. I would say 5.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So that was a huge thing for me.
That's amazing. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, I bet you've got lots of other stories that you might want to share with the viewers so that other people might have other ideas of different parts of your book that might resonate with them, or might want them to pick it up and step into.
You mean other stories from other women that I've worked with, or
your own?
Okay. That's a really good question. So I'm trying to think, because there's so much. Yeah. I would say one of the biggest things for me is the I don't know if you got to the chapter yet on the breasts. Have you gotten?
No, I haven't yet. No.
Okay. Well, I don't really want to spoil too much, but I will just say that, I feel one of the big pieces in my work, and this is something that I, when I work with women, I say, if you walk away and you really just remember one thing, let this one thing be this, is the breasts, and working with the energy that exists in the breasts, because that is where the heart chakra is. That is where, those energies of love and connection and compassion are. When we actually start getting very quiet, and we start noticing what's there, noticing any sensation, any vibration, any hints of anything, it's actually a very transformational process. And so I go into some deep exercises to really, start loving your breasts and working with them to really be, your most vibrant self. And for me in my journey, I remember first coming to this work, a little over a decade ago, and not fully comprehending just how powerful it was. And, I felt like, okay, I'm doing something right. It made me feel so good and so energized. I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this. So, I'm gonna do meditations. I'm gonna work, with my subtle energies and all of that. And I just remember just one experience that I had in the beginning of allowing myself to really get very quiet and to really focus on that area, the breasts and the heart energy in that area, and just completely losing myself for a few hours in that. And I can't even, it's not even something that I probably will do any justice with words. But I felt like, almost like this huge waterfall was just pouring through my heart, and like unconsciously, just these things that I'd been holding on there through the years were just like being blown away. And all of a sudden, just feeling all of this energy and this vibration that existed there. And like we were talking about earlier, the self-love, like, whoa, like really feeling that amplified throughout my body. And I literally cried for a couple hours just because it was such an intense moving of energy. And I say this because, sometimes we tend to, want to overthink things, and we try to find, always looking for words to try and process and understand things and get through, maybe some tough experiences that we might have had. We've all had different experiences. But I really like to call that into focus, just because, there is a greater intelligence in our bodies. There is that unconscious, the body, as we go through our lives and as we, deal with experiences, maybe traumas, maybe situations where we've felt that lack of worth. And our bodies have taken all of that in as we go. It's just taking all of it in. So if we're not fully aware and we're not fully processing these things as they come, all of these are being hidden and kept in the body. So we may consciously think that we are moving on just by, all right, I'm not going to look at this, I'm not going to address this, or it's too much right now, I can't do this right now, or I'm busy, I have responsibilities, and so we press on and we try to be strong, right? But then as we go, we're just amassing, this collection of hurts and of lacks and pain and all of that. And so I think there's something powerful about turning off the mind and about, just setting aside all of the words and all of the explanations and all of the stories and all of the reasons why and how and all of the things that we failed to do, wrong, we did wrong or whatever. And just breathe and just be in the body, because the body just has that wisdom there that really in a lot of cases is untapped. And so if we can breathe and trust the body and allow ourselves to feel and process and embody everything as it comes, the body will allow us to move through, those experiences that might be challenging, and allow us to heal. So I think that's really important.
Well, and not only will the body allow us to move through and heal, but your body's your manifesting engine. Your body is an earth spirit, a nature spirit.
Yes.
And she's the one, or he's the one, that actually brings you the things you want to create. And if these wounds are in place inside of our body, then she or he can't give you what you're asking for. And I learned many years ago, I took a class on dowsing, and we would douse to see to what degree is our body in alignment with what we want to create, money or relationships or good health or a new job or whatever. And if you ask the body parts, in particular, ask the brain, the heart, and the genitalia, and with women, the breasts.
Yes.
And many times the dowsing would show that our mind might want it, our heart might want it, but our ovaries and our womb and our breast might be, oh no way.
No.
Yeah. And so you have to go and find and clear away all of the negative stuff that's been stored in there. Because what I think people don't realize is that our bodies are listening.
Yes.
All the time. They hear everything. We might not get it through the ears, but the body does. And if somebody says something derogatory about your breasts, your body's going to hear it even miles away. And because we're all connected, and we'll internalize those and truly believe that that's the reason why there's such a pandemic of breast cancer is
Yes.
these are all those wounds that got stored in the breasts.
Yes.
And, same for the ovaries, for all the body parts. Because in my reality, every organ and gland in the body has a soul just like I do. And it's got its own mission and purpose. But it can't do that if wounds are stuffed in there.
I love that. That's beautiful.
And so what's next for Rhoda? What are you going to do now that you've got your book out?
Well, things have gotten very busy in my life since the book's come out, which I'm so grateful for. But I've been, just really trying to get it out there. I've been going around doing a lot of signings. I had my book launch and signing at Barnes & Noble in my neighborhood here. That was the first initial event. And then since then, I've been going out and just going out and talking to women and sharing the book, sharing the exercises. I have other stops to make. So, doing a little book tour to like Texas and the East Coast after the holidays, have that scheduled. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on.
So people can find out your schedule on your website, rhodashapiro.com, right?
Yes. The fully updated schedule isn't there yet because everything is coming together now, but it should be soon. But yes, rhodashapiro.com is where they can find out more about me and my work.
So now this is going to sound crazy, I guess, but have you considered doing an online class series to teach people how to use the tools that you've got in your book?
That's a great idea. It's something that I thought about some months back before the release was happening, and I kind of have been in a whirlwind. I haven't been able to think, but I think that is a great idea. I would like to eventually do that.
When you do,
maybe after all my live classes die down a little bit.
Yeah, because I'll sign up for it.
Oh, that's great.
I'll be student number one. Yeah, because there is just so much wonderful information in this book and so many really healing exercises. So I just highly recommend it to everybody who's watching. And go get your copy of it. You can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and check out her website. And you won't regret it, because I think you'll find that it will help you to completely wake up and become the badass that you can be.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me tonight on Power Talk. And viewers, next week, my guest is going to be a young Dutch woman by the name of Lon. It's spelled L-O-N, capital L, capital O, capital N. And she has created a deck of cards that are based on sacred geometry. She's an artist, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And it's an oracle deck for healing relationships and creating relationships. So I don't think you're going to want to miss that one. And until next time, remember, people who take responsibility for their lives create the reality they desire. I love you all. Ciao.